So this is Rick's garage, home of just about every sci-fi contraption you could ever want. But this garage may hold more secrets than childhood dream-fulfilling weaponry. Like, tell me, do you remember this room?
Shit I've ever had to deal with, and I'm bringing you into it because you asked for it, Morty. You and me, Morty.
That's like a full-on bat cave underneath the floorboards of the Smith residence. Okay, you might remember that one, probably actually, but what level is this room on?
Wait, we live over a cool sushi spot?
Yes, that is a real part of Rick's garage. No, I'm not kidding. So today, we're going to be going through the entire history and layout of this garage to learn all of its secrets and figure out how exactly it works. And doesn't work, for that matter. Now, normally with videos like these, we'd be looking at the entire layout of the place as some sort of blueprint or something, but we aren't gonna do that this time. Mainly because there isn't one I could find. Instead, you're just gonna have to trust me here. Rick's garage has more than one level. Shocker, I know. But before we get to any of those, we're starting at level 1, where most of the action happens.
I turned myself into a pickle, Morty! Boom!
Alright, maybe that's not action per se, but it goes to show how some of the show's most famous and infamous scenes all happen on this top floor. So, let's get a feel for the place, shall we? This is what the full top floor looks like with the garage door open.
I want it real. Run away with me now.
It looks pretty small, all things considered, but it's got a whole lot packed into it. We can see Rick's tool bench to the left, some sort of pinboard on the back wall, a sink, a washer, a dryer, and then on the right is Rick's shelf. But it's sort of covered up, so let's get a better look at that side view in particular. Here it is in the episode Me Seeks and Destroy.
Well, come on, let's get going.
Dad, the dishwasher's doing that thing again?
That's a much better view of the shelf. And that scene also shows us the door to the rest of the house that was covered in our front view, but you probably already knew that, so let's talk more about that shelf. The shelf actually holds a lot more secrets than you'd probably guess at first glance. Obviously, it's home to a lot of Rick's old inventions and gizmos he's come across over his years. I mean, the Me Seeks episode in particular, it shows us one of the series' most iconic devices.
This is a Meeseeks box.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me!
You make a request.
Yes, sirree!
The Meeseeks fulfills the request,
All done!
and then it stops existing.
Such humble beginnings for a device that would ultimately be so dangerous. I mean, look at what it leads to at the end of that episode.
There he is!
And that's just the start of the Me Seeks violence. The box pops up again in the season 4 premiere, and, well...
Ah, Mr. Meeseeks!
Kill this Nazi prick!
You son of a...
There's the all Me Seeks box leading to the deaths of 4 people at once. Though to be fair, the blame could probably be placed more on fascist Morty. Though don't worry, there's some undeniable evidence of Me Seeks danger in that very same episode.
Meeseeks, look at me!
Shield me from the law!
Yes, sirree!
Stand down!
Look at me!
I mean, I guess we should have figured domestic terrorism is a possibility when it comes to Me Seeks. If they can take strokes off of Jerry's golf game, anything is possible. But alright, enough about Me Seeks. What are some other devices on that shelf? Well, back in that shot we had in Me Seeks and Destroy, we can actually see what looks to be like an old car battery on the shelf. Now, obviously, that's a pretty unusual sight in most people's garages. I mean, most people usually store their cars there rather than doomsday devices, but that begs the question. Why does Rick have a car battery of some sort in there? Well, in my opinion, I think it's a prototype of what's later revealed to be his microverse battery.
Means something. Huh. Looks like something's wrong with the microverse battery.
And yeah, in case you forgot, that's a whole civilization that Rick essentially enslaves to power his UFO. At least he doesn't have to deal with gas prices. See, this is why you gotta drive electric, folks. And who enough shilling, see that mace on the shelf? Well, I see it too. In fact, it's one of the most consistent things to pop up on said shelf. But seasons came and seasons went, and it just never got used. Until finally, in season 5, we get the mace's big payoff.
It's okay. We can still liberate all this other stuff. Buddy, you forget that we're in this together.
Well, alright, maybe big payoff is a bit overkill there. It finally got used once and has since been forgotten about, because of course it was. Because in a world of sci-fi, hoo-ha, what's-its, maces just aren't as cool, I guess. But hey, at least it was pretty much consistently on the shelf. The same can't be said for some other devices that made their way there, like the Vinda beacon.
Whoa, Rick! Is that the Vinda beacon?
Can you guess how many times this little thing pops up after this? Can you? If you guess 0, you win. But that's not to say that the scene we saw it in is completely maddening. You see that box in the background labeled time travel stuff? Well, the box has always been around. Heck, you can even see it back in the shot we've been looking at from Me Seeks and Destroy. It just wasn't labeled yet. But truth be told, we never see what's in the box, and that may be for good reason. See, the writers of the series have gone out of their way since the beginning to try and distance themselves from time travel plot lines, and the few times they decide to actually mess with the concept, well...
Quit yelling! What the f? Your time is all ripped up to hell!
And if flying testicle monster men who act as time police isn't warning enough as to why you don't mess with time,
Hey, you dumbass three-dimensional monkey-ass dummies.
Oh, way to go, Rick!
Snakeinator. That's why you don't mess with time. Thankfully, the time-traveling snakes get what's coming to them. They broke galactic law, after all. And that is why we never see what's inside the time travel stuff box. And that's also pretty much all the notable stuff I can think of when it comes to Rick's shelf, besides this.
Looks like it's just you and me, buddy.
You'd think keeping a decaying cyborg in the walls would smell, but that's besides the point. It's time we start talking about some of the secret compartments on this first floor. So let's just start off with the first one we saw. After Rick saves Bird Person from being a brainwashed soldier to the Galactic Federation, he keeps his Phoenix Person parts in the walls while he works on breaking his mind free, and until then, this is where he stores them, right behind his shelf.
Okay, bring him out.
Initiating best friend rejuvenation sequence.
And yeah, apparently he accesses it through either a remote, as we saw the first time he revealed Bird Person's remains, or through voice activation, like Jarvis or Siri.
Do you have solar panels? Are you familiar with basic engineering?
This is moving really fast.
Let's cut to the chase. I will suck your...
Or whatever you'd call that. Hey, actually, I got a question. Back to the rotting bird person behind the walls. What wall between the garage and a kitchen is going to be thick enough to be able to spin out and contain a full operating table and body? So that one, while cool for lore purposes, doesn't make, like, much sense at all, though it is certainly not the only secret flip-out compartment in this place. Take a look at this clip from the episode Edge of Tomorty Rick Die Repeat. What the frick are these titles?
Okay, just because I can't interact with solid matter means you can just walk all over me?
Again, let's not question the spatial reasoning here. We don't need to worry about how multiple rows of fracking world-ending weapons secretly fold into the very tight roof quarters of a suburban household that's entirely financially covered by a horse surgeon. Thankfully, there's a much simpler, more believable weapons rack in that time-traveling snake episode.
What the hell did you do?
Just trying to do the right thing.
That shelf looks much more believable. It doesn't look too thick and even has little indents where you can store the guns rather than hang them on hooks that jut out no matter what. Either way, though, those walls must be seriously lacking in insulation. Rick's either always going to be freezing or melting in there. But you know what? While on the topic of storage space, Rick's garage looks sort of cluttered, right? I mean, we saw that shelf, we've seen his desk space, it's a bit messy, and it has absolutely no reason to be. Take a look at this clip from the episode Morty Daddy, another interesting title there. That is a portal to a pocket dimension where Rick chucks all of his garbage. You'd think he could also just store things there if he needs to, keep the garage clean and all that, but no. And that's not even the only garbage-related secret area Rick has in his garage. Behold, my favorite character in the series.
Garbage goober, get out here and eat this garbage.
Trash. Yeah, I love trash. Yum, yum, trash.
Hell yeah, I love that little guy.
Right under the sink is home to the garbage goober. And I do mean home. This guy has a whole little apartment behind that little hole in the wall.
Where do you think you're going?
Oh, well,
With a garbage goober wife and a garbage goober Harvard Medical School degree. And this is what he's resorted to doing for a living, eating trash. I feel for him. This is why Garbage Goober is the best character in the series, the end. It's not the actual end of the video. Now that we've gotten all that stuff out of the way, it's time we tackle some of the sublevels of Rick's garage, starting with B1, aka where this guy is.
This explains the $6,000 electric bill.
That right there is Flim Flam, a sort of prisoner of Rick's. He came to Earth to eat babies, then Rick caught him, found out he had space AIDS, and decided he wanted to try and cure it so he could patent the cure and make millions. And then Beth and Jerry let him loose. So who knows how many babies he's chowed down on since then. I'm pretty sure this lair is just to hide stuff Rick doesn't want Beth or Jerry to walk in on, hence why he hid it beneath this hatch.
I'm going down there.
Jerry,
Beth, this is my house, which makes this my garage, my secret hatch, my hidden subterranean lair.
And trust me, that is far from the only time we see that hatch. In fact, this series is very consistent with a lot of its layouts. While they don't always make a lot of spatial sense, I'm looking at you, Gunrax. The locations of the rooms and such is pretty consistent. Like, here's the hatch once more, leading to this exact level in the episode Night Family. You can see the weird chicken embryo things at the beginning of that clip, which, sure enough, were in that room the first time we saw it with Flim. It's just a little bigger now thanks to Rick's self going rogue and trying to take over his self's life. That's a strange episode. However, it wasn't just aliens Rick was keeping in pods down there. Initially, Sublevel B1 was home to the Phoenix Project, where he kept clones of himself to transfer over to when he dies. Though after a younger clone of himself goes rogue, he decides to axe the program, literally.
Back to the drawing board!
Now that's all well and good. Looks to be about the same room we saw earlier, just one issue. This is how Rick gets to that room in that episode.
Operation Phoenix is not the fallback I thought it would be.
All right, that is 1 point against the consistency of this series. An elevator is not a hatch, in case you didn't know. Anywho, from here on out, we're getting a little iffier on the continuity of the series. We're moving on to Sublevel B2, and in truth, the only time we ever see it is in this shot from the episode Rictional Mortpoon's Rickmismortation.
Got it, I got it!
So, what do we see there? A couple of alien plants that seem even more sentient than a Venus flytrap. I'd question whether Rick should be storing these into the house, but it goes without saying that Rick's got way worse locked away than just giant carnivorous plants. So wait, if this is the only time we see this room, how could there be continuity issues? Well, take a listen to what Summer says about level B2 in this clip from the episode Hot Rick.
There's a phantom zone for dangerous stuff on level 2 and a vault for valuable stuff on 7.
Makes sense.
Well, if this supposed phantom zone is anything like the one in Superman 2, what I can tell you is that Summer is probably incorrect. This is what the phantom zone should look like. A big flat panel of cosmic glass that traps you inside and flips around like a theme park ride, not a bunch of plants. So, what happened here? One of 3 things. 1, between seasons 6 and 8, Rick changed his plant habitat on level B2 to store the phantom zone. 2, Summer is wrong, the phantom zone is actually on a different floor. Canonically, this is sort of likely. Or 3, the writers just forgot that they had already shown floor B2 back in season 6 when they wrote that Summer line in season 8. Yeah, that's sort of the most likely cause, isn't it? But now we actually have a canonically consistent floor, Sublevel B3, another prison, because when can you ever have enough people trapped in your basement? But see, the difference here is that with this prison, instead of shackles or tubes, the people are kept in sacks. Sacks of red goop. I mean, what else would you call this?
Where are we? What is this? That's it, get out.
I mean, it looks like a blood bag with a person inside, or I guess alien. I feel like sack just describes it better. What's crazy though is the red goop isn't blood. It's actually, well, I'll let Rick explain.
Globofin. It connects the whatever you want section of your brain to the whatever you have section.
So Rick just keeps people in these tubes and lets them live out their wildest fantasies? It's almost sweet, kinda. I mean, as long as you don't think about how none of what they're experiencing is real and that these people were kidnapped. And sure enough, this little sublevel reappears in season 6 and it's just as red as we remember it.
Elevator, elevator!
We gotta get ahead of it!
That poor dinosaur guy probably just got woken up from the greatest dream of his life and is only now realizing it's all been a sham. Yeesh, alright, yeah, I take back what I said. This is definitely not sweet. Rick's just playing God, and as per usual, he's playing a cruel one. We're skipping a few floors down now to B7. We don't know what the other floors look like, sorry. What am I apologizing for, actually? I didn't make this show. Anywho, remember this clip from earlier?
There's a phantom zone for dangerous stuff on level 2 and a vault for valuable stuff on 7.
Makes sense.
Take a wild guess as to what is on level B7. If you guessed a vault where Rick stores important stuff, just as Summer said, you'd be correct. I mean, any room with a key card needed to undoubtedly store some hyper-secretive stuff. That's why I made it so you need a password to access my search history. But what exactly could be stored in such a secretive place? Well, let's play the guessing game one more time. I'll give you 3 seconds. Got it? I can't count to 3. Well, if you guess that it stores the last memory Rick has of his dead wife, you'd be correct. And you get no prize, I'm sorry. Well, you get to see the clip. I guess that's kind of a prize. No, we didn't necessarily need to see all that, but I put it in the video anyways. I suffered through it. You should too. And yeah, that's all I got really for this level. Moving on. Smooth transition. We're skipping down to a bit more to level B15. Again, don't worry. We don't really know what's all in the other levels except for 10, but I'm saving that one for last. And trust me, it's worth it. But for now, let's look at the deepest floor we know in Rick's garage, Sublevel B15. Just what could it be that Rick stores deeper down than even his locked away decaying memories of his dead wife? Well, it's cold. Very cold.
Wait, we live over a cool sushi spot?
Sushi. Yeah, see, I said it would be cold because usually sushi is severely cold. Why does Rick keep a sushi place underneath his floorboards at all times? Well, I mean, if it meant that you could always have access to some S-tier sushi, why wouldn't you go out of your way to build a place and hire a guy to do nothing but serve you all day? And yes, it is the same guy that's there at all times. The only other time we see this place, he's still chilling behind the counter doing what he does best.
Whoa, you beat out Luigi's.
Why does anime food always look so good? Man, you know what? All right, you probably heard that joke 1,000 times. What I may need to hear again is that whole Luigi's line Rick dropped there. There are multiple restaurants in this place? I mean, hang on, let me go on a tangent real quick. There are 23 layers in this basement, okay? We know that because of this scene in the elevator from Rictional Mortpoon's Rickmismortation, whatever the frick. Pay close attention to the buttons. Counting the BX button, which who knows what the frick that means. We got 23 levels, and we've only ever seen what's on 6 of them. How many of these layers are just restaurants? I mean, this Luigi's place has got to be one of those floors. Is there a Starbucks down there? A McDonald's? You best believe Rick would make sure they always got the Szechuan sauce. All right, enough playing around. This is the same room that I've been looking forward to talking about the most, Sublevel B10, the Rick Prime scouting room. We first get a look at it in Rictional Mortpoons. I'm not saying that again. Here's the clip.
Whoa, you found me.
You know what? That's even more demeaning than having to say that episode title over and over again. Rick's got to stare at thousands of asses to even potentially find the man who killed his wife. That's cold, and actually cold this time, not like sushi cold. Oh, and I do mean potentially. Rick runs a ton of tests on leftover equipment from he and Rick Grimes' first encounter, and even when it looks like he manages to make some headway, this happens.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, I can work with that.
Even at the end of the episode, while Morty's off on his own adventure, Rick's still chipping away at the puzzle the Prime laid out in front of him, and by the end of the episode, nothing's changed.
Welcome to my darkness. I spent my life hunting this guy, Morty.
It's a heck of a setup, I'll say that much. I'm sure NASA is salivating looking at all this. But finally, after meeting up with evil Morty and retreating from another one of Rick Prime's traps, this level of the garage finally does what it was always meant to do.
Holy
Kind of like an anticlimactic reaction for Rick in my eyes. I'd probably be bawling my eyes out after finally finding my wife's killer after staring at butts for a whole year and a half. Heck, I cry when I finally figure out why my computer crashes so often. But the garage doesn't really play into this, but if you know anything about Rick Prime's fate, you know how important this scene is to the series. I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Sublevel B10. Okay, real quick side note, again in the episode Rictional Mortpoons Mortmas Vacation, the government does end up entering Rick's garage and shows us this big cavernous lair. So maybe this is the level BX we saw earlier in the elevator. I don't know, does this look like a level BX to you?
Will this drill down fast enough to get under the lightsaber?
All right, genius.
To me, it sort of does. It's definitely the biggest and tallest of the layers we've seen so far, and we know it's accessed by the elevator because of this scene.
touch my and die. That's not a threat from me. That's how advanced my is.
So, yeah, not entirely sure whether we can really say this is truly BX or not, but you know what? For my money, I'm going with it. And that is Rick's Garage as of now. Season 9 is on the horizon as of this video's making, so we haven't seen if that or any season beyond adds anything, but for now, that's all we know. Which level is your favorite? Let me know down in the comment section below, and be sure to click the video on screen now if you want to see more animated goodness like this. And as always, guys, thank y'all very much for watching. Adios!